641. Let's go to the phones here. We'll kick it off with Joe Cameron, who's a GovGuam retiree for Choice, and I know you've been following this Choice health insurance bill. Joe, were you pleased with the outcome yesterday? It was an 8-6 vote, a little closer than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, well, I think it was a good day for the retirees and for also the active employees of this government. I did get a call or several calls by different senators yesterday. And
before or after the vote?
Before the vote. Can you believe that?
Oh.
And I was thinking, I was at the doctor's clinic because I had some procedures yesterday, and before I could even get any x-rays done, lo and behold, I was being stopped from going in because I was receiving calls. Just some 5 minutes, some 30 seconds before their vote.
Wow.
And I will say that I believe the majority of the calls that I had received was a statement of fact that some senators from the very get-go stated that they wanted me to reach out to the Manamcus and let them know that they're still very much in favor of the bill. And so I didn't know what to say, really. I was just, I guess, as a spokesperson, I said thank you. And then I received 3 phone calls from various people that weren't sure if whether or not they would vote for the bill. And I just found that pretty odd because when somebody calls me, it's usually to say, okay, by the way, you know, you guys need to know this, and I think the people go know this. I am not a pushover. I will not be anybody's pushover. I have allowed for many years where I have done things and I kept my mouth shut because people were trying to sabotage or to do things in anything that I did. Well, guess what? Elected officials out there, you're not going to find that in me anywhere. I am the brand new remade Cameron, and I am your Lola Cola in the male form, and I promise you that. Let me tell you something, and this is known by the Manamcus. Lola Cola, known as Lola Nelson, for many years, and my family knows this. We would speak every night for an hour to 2 hours, or every other night when she wasn't able to speak to me. And she was my confidant. She was my cousin. And she was very persistent. And I couldn't figure it out. And I would always go to all the meetings of the Manamcus for the Servicio para Manamco or for the Guam Association of Retired Persons. And we would meet mostly over at the, excuse me, the Senior Center program over at Manila. And I would sit there, and then when things were coming up, she would say, Cameron, did you hear that? And I used to just nod my head, and the Manamcus would look back. And I was too young to be in that room in the midst of all those folks. Well, listen, folks, I'm 63 years young. I am not going to be anybody's pushover. I will persist that the Manamcus, and let's not forget, it's not just the Manamcus. We have got thousands who are not just GovGuam employees. There are also dependents of GovGuam employees who are being insured by this great government. So all the lame excuses out there for why people didn't vote, or elected officials, just, you know what? Let the old saying, nothing personal, but it ain't over till the fat lady sings. And let me tell you something, that fat lady is waiting to sing. Because come November election, they will speak. The Manamcus could not come out.
So wait, Joe, who's are you, the Manamcus or the fat ladies?
The Manamcus who are elders.
Right.
They're normally very active in some shape or form to come out to a public hearing. But remember, we didn't have a public hearing like we normally do. We had a Zoom meeting. Trust me, most uncles don't know how to Zoom
Right.
even 45 miles an hour.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, as we proceed with this reopening of the government, there's going to be a level of comfort for the uncles. They don't even have to go in to vote. They can come to the site and somebody will come out. And I will push for that, for people to come out and take care of the uncles in their car to vote. These uncles are not pushovers. And the GovGuam employees have a voice as well, who are active. Lots of people, and this, I guess, is part of our nature as Pacific Islanders, that, okay, well, it isn't okay. It really isn't.
What do you anticipate the governor's action will be with the bill, Joe?
This is the way I look at it. I and the Monaco's, we place this in the hands of God. God always makes things happen for the best. And we believe that the very God we believe in will place that healing hands on the elected officials to make sure that there's opportunities. I worked for the federal government. I had oodles of choices as to who I wanted to be my insurance coverage with. We've had this for how many decades in Guam? And it was a lame excuse to say, oh, by the way, we're giving you the opportunity of a lifetime. Our government spends millions, and we know this, people of Guam, it's true. We spend millions on pet projects. I'm telling you, it's okay to do that. For instance, Sabina, you know that. We've lived here. This is our home.
Who were the senators that called you prior to the vote? And what were they? Were they just like, oh, please forgive me, But
you know what? It's not a nice thing to out people specifically on this radio, because let's be serious.
Was it senators that voted no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, there was two that voted no.
Okay, that called you.
Yeah, and I guess because I'm related to them.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew that at some point in time, I can get pretty nasty.
Oh, really?
And I plan to be.
Well, when you're fighting for what's right, or you're fighting for people.
This way, we are in a community that needs to get, the Dafamali, we got to take care of each other. And there's ways to do that. But you know what? We can't bite the hands that feed us. We have elected individuals to speak on our behalf. And baby, we are a dying group, the Banapos. And we don't muster the numbers of the thousands and thousands of people who are currently active employees. But trust me, we the Banapos have laid the foundations for these young people. They want to take care of us too. So the active employees have family. And those family members were probably the biggest benchmark of their lives that stated, hey, why don't you apply to work for the government? Back then we were the sole employer, right? But you know what? I don't want to go down this road of nastiness, because what if, you mentioned this, Sabrina, what if it's vetoed, right? We need an override. And you don't go out slapping people left and right publicly. I may go on my Facebook and just express myself, and my people that, when I say my people, Lord, I can't believe I said that. My colleagues who are elders along with me, we feel passionately about certain things, and we will express it. If Lola were alive, she would slap me. She'll turn over her grave if I didn't say something. That's why I said, no. I'm not going to be anybody's pushover. I need to speak out on behalf of the people that call me. You know what it was like yesterday after I had all my x-rays? The reason why was I freaking fell down on my butt, and I thought, Lord have mercy, I broke up my tailbone or something. Luckily me, I've got good bones. Well, these bones are going to resurrect. And I'm going to tell you, I won't do the will of these Manamkus. I will be your Lola Cola.
Mm-hmm. You say Lola Cola, but you know her granddaughter voted no.
Well, I can't speak for my niece.
Mm-hmm.
She's my niece.
Mm.
But you know what? I believe that, and one of my statements, since you did ask, was okay. If it's not going to be till 2022,
mm-hmm.
and you believe that X, Y, and Z may occur as a result of the passage, don't you think you have time between now and 2022? Hello. But then the excuse that was given to me was a lame one from one of the people. And I go, oh, Lord. So I didn't want to touch that because I felt like, here it is. Let's say that for whatever reason, it becomes vetoed. Well, those 6 folks, I need 2 to override the governor.
Mm-hmm.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yes.
Why would I go after the 6 that went after that did not vote on the will of the Manamkus? Why would I do that? You know one thing? One thing I remembered is, that I was always told as an elder, as a young kid growing up. He says, "You're so forgiving. Jojo, you're just so darn forgiving. You allow people to trample over you." But then again, I also remember having been a director for many agencies, a chief of staff for 3 senators. And I learned that if you humble yourself at some point in time, that fat lady is going to come out and sing. But I also remember, and I think the 2 of you would know this, that you kill people with kindness.
Mm-hmm.
You get more bees with honey.
Right, Joe. And that being said, right, let's look at the positive, right? The choice bill passed. It's now heading to Adelup. I know you're saying that you're going to take up the Lola Cola mantle. You're going to be the voice for choice for the retirees and the GovGuam employees. So are you going to have any conversation with the Gov and maybe, give her your 2 cents on this?
Of course. The time will come where I would like to meet with her. It's just so difficult with these times where, everything is kind of in an uproar as to who can come, who cannot come, things like that. But it doesn't have to be a person. First, it could be a phone call.
Yep.
Well, we know they listen, so if you want to give out a message right here, Joe, we can give you the floor, and then we'll let you go.
Yes, absolutely. And I plead to all the elected officials, especially to our sweet governor, who is a very passionate governor. She's a woman. She understands family. She understands COVID. And thank God she's the governor right now. There's just no freaking way that we could do what we are doing to reopen Guam if it weren't that Lou. Let me tell you, Lou Leon Guerrero has a big heart, and she is nobody's pushover either. You see what I'm saying? She's nobody's pushover. I think the people of Guam know that already. I know times are hard. Don't you think the governor's concerned? Look at the cities that are planning to reopen or who have reopened, and Texas alone spiked almost 1,800 folks positive in one day. And then now we have all these folks out there badgering and protesting, this is America the Great. Well, guess what? Our governor's not looking at America the Great, but she is looking at hotspots. And she realizes that as a nation, the United States does not fall under the hotspot stuff, on the statistics. But she also is very cautiously concerned. And she will not be bullied. And you know what I've learned? You don't bully a governor to get something out of it. Do you really believe I'm going to bully our governor? Why would I do that? She's a very good person. She will weigh these cases out. And she knows that there's 2 years before we go into this choice, and that there's things to be worked out where it's a win-win for everybody. We just want choice. We want that opportunity. For those of us who can afford to pay the extra little just so we can get our choice, that's what the bill said. If your premium, for example, and I think it's better to speak this way. If the premium of the individual company, let's say, is like $50 your side a month, but yet it's $850 on the government side, which is comparable. I mean, it's a real number. The government spends a lot of money on your premium on that side of the coin. But remember that if that premium lowers to the lowest possible denominator because it's competitive, in that way it helps a great deal on that one company that gets the deal. But the competitors, they're not going to want to go way too high above that. Let's say that there's $150 more on the premium for the year if you selected somebody who was not the lowest denominator or the lowest cost. Don't speak for the money of the people who have choices. Some people will take that $150 more premium for that year and invest it in their health with a company that they feel more comfortable with, because it's called choice.
Well, there you go, Joe. And that's why I wanted to bring you on to kind of recap your thoughts on the events yesterday, and we'll touch base with you again. Let's go do another call this week, and keep us posted.
Yeah, and I just want to say one more time, there's too much hell and damnation out there. There's naysayers talking about spooky, and Lulungar, there's Lulungar. You know what? I said this before, and it's not a very friendly thing for some of the naysayers. You've got to give the governor her just due. She is in charge. Whether you voted for her or not, she is our governor. And I want to end it like that. We got to start trusting this lady. She's a fine person, and I think the people are going to know that.
All right. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.
Okay, bye.
Take it easy. Bye. There you go. The new Lola Cola. 658.
In mail form.
In mail form. Joe Cameron there, retiree for choice. 658. Hey, we're going to take a little break, and we'll come back with Senator Joseph Augustine, and we'll kind of discuss this Stand Your Ground Castle Doctrine expansion. That's coming up next on Containing COVID. Good morning, Guam.
Keeping you informed, KUAM News brings you